Welcome back to the channel. I'm C-Stan, the creator of DragnCards, and today we're diving into how to upload custom content to DragnCards plugins. With the platform's latest update, it's easier than ever to play with your own custom cards online without having to manage any plugins yourself. Before we proceed, I highly recommend checking out the written guide on this topic for the most up-to-date information and frequently asked questions. You can access this by clicking the GitHub link on the homepage and clicking on Wiki, and then finally clicking on the Upload Custom Content to an existing plugin. All right, let's get started. First off, you'll need to host the images of your cards online, as DragnCards does not host images itself. So once you've created your cards, perhaps using a tool like Photoshop or Strange Eons, you need to upload these to an online hosting service. I recommend using AWS S3. It's what I personally use for the cards for my plugins. But just remember, the important thing is you need to have direct URLs to your images that, for example, end in .jpeg or .png. So services like Google Drive won't work because the URL you get from those images is not a direct URL to the image. It's a link to this view of the image. So you need direct access, like a URL like this, in order to use these URLs with your DragnCards plugins. All right, so assuming you have done that, the next step is to create a spreadsheet of your card information. To do this, you should go to DragnCards and click on the plugin that you want to add custom content to. Create a room, and then once you're in, go to the builder and click on custom content. In the pop-up here, click download example template. This will download a file called examplecards.tsv, and you should then import that file into Google Sheets or a similar spreadsheet application. So here's an example of what this example spreadsheet will look like. You'll see various columns, such as the database ID, some card stats, and the image URLs, which I talked about in the first step. The important column to remember is this database ID. It is what identifies your card within the game engine. So if you later say you update a card, like you adjust one of the stats on the card in both the image and in this spreadsheet, you need to keep this database ID the same, as it will update the card in the DragnCards database. Anyone who's using that card, if you've made this card public, anyone who has a deck that includes it, will receive the updates you've made to the card next time they load a deck. Conversely, if you change this ID, it will break any decks that are using that card. So just keep that in mind. Also, for multi-sided cards, these are two sides of the same card. So for a multi-sided card, you actually want to keep the database ID the same. Because the first time it encounters this database ID, it will treat it as like side A of the card. The second time it encounters that database ID, as long as the card back column is listed as multi-sided, it will treat that as side B. And you can actually have more than two sides if you want. You can go all the way up to, I think, 6 sides for a single card, as long as you keep using the same database ID with the multi-sided card back column entry. So the idea ultimately is to completely override this example file with your own data. You can change these database IDs to any unique set of characters you want. And the rest of the data here in this file is just to give you an example for how you might fill in different types of cards. It gives you a little insight into how the plugin author built their own card database. So if you want your cards to work with any automation that the plugin author has written, you want to follow their template for how to enter in card information. One minor note: you don't need to keep the columns in this order that appears in the example cards spreadsheet. You can rearrange these as you like if you find it easier to work with. Okay, so for this example, I am going to enter in the data for some custom cards made by a fan of the Lord of the Rings card game, Ian from the Tales from the Cards blog. He made a set of first age custom content. So I have entered in that information here. I am using the URLs provided by the Hall of Beorn blog. So again, we have these direct links to these images that have been put in. And at this point, with all the card information entered, we are ready to upload our cards. So to upload the cards, you go back to the game room and you click on Upload Public Cards. After clicking on this, you just navigate to where your cards were downloaded, and then you click on that TSV file. I should clarify, the file I got was obtained by going in Google Sheets, File, Download, and then clicking this Tab Separated Values button. If you're using some other spreadsheet application, you need to find a way to export this as a TSV, Tab Separated Values. All right, so once we've uploaded the cards, you should see small images of all the cards you've uploaded. If you don't see them here, that means you made some kind of mistake with the URL for the images. Perhaps there's some permission issues in accessing those images with your image hosting provider. You could try checking out some of the URLs, posting them in like a private or an incognito tab. Just make sure that you can actually access them, because that's probably the most common hiccup for people uploading custom cards to DragnCards here. All right, so once we've done this, our cards are now accessible in the plugin. So we can click out, and the next step, if you like, is to build a deck with them. If your whole purpose was just to import some custom cards for other people to make decks with, well, you're already done. But if you'd like to build a deck yourself, you can come to Builder, click on Custom Content, Custom Decks, create a new deck, and over here on the right is a button that says Public. If you click on this, it will load in all the public cards uploaded to the plugin by every user. So to filter down to the cards that you yourself have uploaded, you can just simply type in your username in this filter author column. So I'm going to write test account here. And you can see now all of my cards are visible from this first stage custom set. And I can start building my deck. So I can add some cards to a quest deck. I could create a player deck by uploading these custom cards to my deck, and so on. I'm just going to give an example of how you might use this deck later. So I'm just going to upload some cards in various places here, and there we go. So let's say this is the deck that I've made, and I want to make it public for other people to play with. You can do that. Simply call it some name, my test deck. You save it, and currently it's still private. If you would like it to be accessible to other players, you click this share icon, and now my test deck is public. You could click that again to make it private again. So if you want to play with the deck yourself, you can just click this play button, and it'll upload it onto your board state. Other people, though, if you want to refer them to the deck you've made, you tell them to go to menu, load custom public deck, and here you can see, actually it's right here, my test account, my test deck. So other users will be able to see this and click on that, and it'll import your custom deck with your custom cards directly to their game. And that's it. So you're all set to enhance your DragnCards experience with your own custom content. If you have any issues with this, don't hesitate to ask in the comments below, or go to the DragnCards homepage, join the Discord, and ask for help there. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.